Good afternoon. This is Marcia Salazar, and I'm broadcasting again from Managua, Nicaragua. It's a cool afternoon here, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about the value of understanding the dynamics of persuasion. And particularly, I'd like to talk about advertising and how it influences our decisions and our behaviors. I'd like to talk about two particular advertisements, and I'll be sending those to each of you in your email. One is for a product called Natural American Spirit Tobacco, and the other advertisement is for Archer Farms food products sold at Target supermarkets. Both of these advertisements are very similar in appearance, but they're advertising two very, very different products. And I'd like to specifically focus in on the advertisement for Natural American Spirit Tobacco. We have talked about several different models or theories of persuasion during our first few weeks here in the course, in the BLS 300 course. And I'd like to focus on four of those theories. The first of those being the School of Ethics theory of utility and consequentialism, the second being the SMCR model, then I'd like to talk about Rank's model of persuasion, and finally the mere exposure hypothesis. In utility and consequentialism, there is a focus on the greatest good, and the greatest good is talked about being for the greatest number of people. It also talks about lying being justified if it benefits more people than it harms. And I think that the advertisement in question here is focusing on an environmental theme. Their focus is on how their corporate offices are run on windmill power, how they are producing their advertisements on recycled paper, and the actual content of the advertisement focuses on all natural, on organic production of tobacco, sustainable farming, etc. So there's a focus on the good here and a very lack of concentration on what the actual product is, being cigarettes and being tobacco, which is harmful to the environment. So I think that's important. The SMCR model has four different elements. It talks about the source of the persuader, and here this is a company located in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's called the Santa Fe Natural Tobacco Company. The message here is eco-friendly tobacco production. Is there such a thing? I think not. It's actually an oxymoron when you talk about eco-friendly tobacco, because we know full and well that it contaminates the environment, and consumption of cigarettes is harmful to the human race. The channel is the print media. This is an ad that I found in Vanity Fair magazine this month, and it's printed on cardboard. So it's one of those advertisements that you find it kind of sticks out at you as you're thumbing through the pages, because it literally stops you in its tracks. The receiver here is the persuadee, or the actual reader of this advertisement. And there's a lot of deception going on here. I think it's important for the reader to be able to recognize that they're talking about a product that's harmful, but their focus, the corporate headquarters focus here, is on their environmentally friendly practices. And they're really downplaying, which we'll get into later in the Rank's model of persuasion, downplaying the negative parts of their product and what it's going to do to the environment, ultimately. So with that said, we'll go into the Rank's model of persuasion. And that talks about intensification and downplaying. They're intensifying, again, their natural focus, their organic production of tobacco, sustainable farming, good practices as far as corporate social responsibility, and a major focus on cleaning up the environment, not leaving a footprint on the earth, as they say. So that's important, the eco-friendly message. There is also a repetition of the word natural 13 times in the ad copy. There are positive and negative ideas that are competing here. Again, it's the message about being a natural product, being additive-free, 100% additive-free, and then there are the negatives, which are being downplayed. The composition is very attractive. It's a beautiful ad. It's colorful. It's got lots of natural products floating around in the advertisement, some subliminal messages, but that'll be seen in the photograph that I'll be sending to you along in your email. Then there is the downplaying. There's an omission of the actual fact that tobacco causes cancer, that it's harmful, that there are health risks related to its use, and that secondhand smoke is actually contaminating the environment. So the only mention here of the harmful side of tobacco use are in the left-hand corner at the bottom of the back page, where they actually have the warnings in those little white boxes that we see on the cigarette packages. And that's the only mention of cigarettes in the actual ad copy. There's a diversion that they're shifting our attention to environmentally friendly as opposed to environmentally harmful. And this causes confusion and faulty logic. Then lastly, I'd like to talk about the mere exposure hypothesis. Again, we focus in this advertisement on the use of the word natural. It's used 13 times, and the actual motto of this company is, it's only natural. So they're talking about a cigarette here. How can a cigarette be only natural? It doesn't have, maybe it doesn't have a filter, maybe it doesn't have additives, but is it really natural? Taking into consideration the fact that the only organic source of nicotine, which we know is highly addictive, is tobacco. So I think that's very misleading. In the Archer Farms ad for Target, which I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, there is also the mere exposure theory, mere exposure hypothesis going on, and that uses the word incredible. And Target apparently is doing a very good job here, because I did interview a couple of people about these products, and the word incredible seems to ring true with the consumers. So in conclusion, I'd like to reiterate that there is definitely value in understanding the dynamics of persuasion, and we as consumers need to be very responsible in how we receive the messages that we're being given by advertisers. It's an ethical choice on our behalf, I think, to be able to understand and comprehend what messages we're being given by these advertisers. And I think the aim at the end of this course should for all of us be to understand how we can clearly receive these messages and also clearly send messages in the end. Thank you very much.